the volume nice and loud. Cause we are controlling transmission. You're in the mix with Lil Drummer Girl. With your host, Dawn Marie. In the mix.
Just a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. I'm not sure if you're a fan of Audible yet or not, but for those of you who love to read books as much as I do, I probably read about 65 to 80 books a year. And I don't really have the time to read, so if you're like me, then this is for you. You can now turn your car into a university, work out and learn, or just put around the house while getting inspired, learn new ways to make your business thrive, or a new skill that can help your personal life flourish. I have a special offer for you. If you go to www.littledrummergirl.com, that's LILDrummergirl.com/resources, in the middle of the page there's a link for a free 30-day trial, plus 2 credits to 2 free book downloads, and that's at any price point. So even if you cancel the membership after 30 days, you get to keep the 2 books forever. So get started today for free. It'll change your life for the better forever. Go check it out. Hey you guys, welcome back to another episode of The Little Drummer Girl. Today we have special guest Victoria Canal. Not only is she 20 years old and beautiful, she is a super talented young lady. She started taking classical lessons at 6 years old with both piano and voice. When she turned 11, she discovered songwriting after listening to writers like John Mayer and Gavin DeGraw, and she decided she wanted to be a singer-songwriter when she grew up. Victoria moved around from Dubai to Barcelona. She decided to do online school instead of going to a brick and mortar school just to pursue her musical career. She was born without her right forearm due to amniotic band syndrome, and she emphasizes that though it serves as a source of inspiration for people who might not traditionally become performers, people's focus should be on the music and the artistic craft. Canal is a supporter of organizations such as SERVE, AIS, T Oigo, and she's raised over 10,000 meals for Serve International for people in need. She's on tour with Michael Franti, and she's here with us tonight on the bus. So, without further ado, let's get Victoria's show on the air. Victoria, thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm so thrilled because when I first learned of your music, I was just in awe of your performance, your vocals, and just the fact that you're only 20 years old and you're so talented. I was freaked out.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I saw that you started playing at 6 years old, studying with your grandma. Mm-hmm. What inspired you? Or who inspired you?
Well, she did. My grandma, she was a piano teacher for many, many years, and music was her life. She worked with children and played at church, and I always loved watching her play and seeing how music affected her and how she had amazing influence on those around her through playing keys. And yeah, like ever since I was 4 years old, I was like, I want to be like her.
Wow.
You know? So I would sit on her lap and put my hand on top of her hand and like feel as she moved those, her fingers according to the piece and be like, I'm playing right now. And so that's it. I just kind of spent every moment with her that I could to learn.
So how long would you play for, like, to practice? Like, how long were your practice sessions?
Oh man, at first I was not a good student. Actually, she never directly taught me like in a structured way because we're both really hard-headed. So she showed me what it was, and then I got another teacher. And he didn't force me to practice. And so, like, for the first few years, I was a terrible student. I got close to quitting piano a lot, like several times. Yeah. But my mom always forced me to do it because she saw talent, I guess. And eventually, it was when it was on my own account that I started to practice more. But really, it's the only reason I've ever practiced is to kind of prove to myself that I could do whatever, like play whatever I wanted to play. Yeah.
So how old were you when you got your first gig? I saw you were like trying to book your own gigs at age 13, which I was floored over that.
Right. So with playing piano at school and taking lessons at school, they force you to do recitals, and that prospect to me was like, oh my gosh, getting in front of people. It was actually terrifying at first, and but then I feel like my parents are a little psychic because they always made me get up and sing in front of like family and friends at dinners, and then forced me to like play 3 songs in a recital at school. they were always making me perform, and because they knew, I think, that someday I would get over stage fright and like really enjoy it. So at first I kind of hated it, and I would cry afterwards because I was like, oh my god, it's so overwhelming, I just put myself out there. And now I love it. There's nothing that comes more naturally to me, I feel, you know.
Do you still get stage fright?
No.
That's awesome.
Well, actually, I'm so used to this tour with Michael Franti that I've just gotten used to that. But next month, I'm opening for this artist, Emily King, at the Apollo Theater in New York.
Oh, nice.
And
Great theater.
So,
That's a great theater.
Yeah, so I feel like I'll get stage fright a little bit at
That's
the Apollo.
awesome. That's awesome.
I'll
Did you say Elle King?
No, Emily King.
Emily King. Okay.
Elle King is really cool.
Yeah, she's cool. Yeah, that's who you're talking about. Do you play any other instruments?
I do. So I played first trumpet in jazz band for many years.
Wow.
And I play guitar a little bit. I suck at guitar, but I play. I play enough to write. That's about it. I'll pick up a bass once in a while and like fiddle around with instruments when I see them, but mostly just for songwriting purposes, not for chops, you know?
And you got inspired by, like, you know, Sam Smith and Al Green as songwriting. I mean, you started so young. Are any of your original songs that you first started with, are they in your repertoire now?
No.
Okay.
No, those were terrible. Terrible songs. But you know what? I didn't have an agenda then. So I was just writing to write, and that was the best part. And I'm really proud of like the improvement, and I think I still have so much to improve as a songwriter, you know? But just kind of documenting where I'm at. I usually only sing the songs that really relate to me now, you know, and those, I find that those songs are completely uninformed compared to what I write now, because I've lived so many more years. Like, I would talk about love when I was 11 as if I had been in a 20-year relationship, you know what I mean? And I was 11 years old. So.
You know, they say you're older than your years. If you're mature, like, sometimes you can feel things just from watching other people. So, you know, you could have picked up stuff even you're only 11.
Yeah, one of the first songs I actually wrote was about my Cuban grandparents. They had to leave Cuba in the early 60s separately, and they didn't know if they were going to find each other again.
Wow.
But their bond and their love has lasted several decades, and they just had their 60th anniversary.
No way.
A couple years ago. Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
Yeah. So I wrote the song called "Together," and it was one of my first YouTube videos, and it's all about just how they're meant to be together, but I make it into my own love story. But I was like 13 when I wrote the song.
That's so cool. I gotta look at that and put that in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
But you've lived in so many places. Speaking of Cuba, I mean, you've lived in Dubai and it's Shanghai and Tokyo. What would you say is your favorite place to live?
What I find to be really special about having moved around a lot and seen a lot of different places is that people are resilient and incredible everywhere you go, if you find the right ones. And, you know, there's architecture and food and all this kind of thing that defines a place, the culture. And I could go on and on about Tokyo or about, you know, New Zealand or, you know, there's so many fascinating places in the world, but above all, I've just found that wherever I've gone, there are always just really inspiring people who I've learned so much from.
It's true. Relationships are really, I mean, that's, I think, most of life's learning experiences are learning from other people.
Yeah.
And there's always a lesson.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, there's always a lesson to learn.
Absolutely.
I also noticed in your bio that you actually studied school online rather than going to the classroom. How was that kind of transition? Like, was that really difficult to do that, or was it, because you have to be really disciplined, don't you, to just kind of study online?
It was easy for me because I did not there were a couple things that I didn't like about school, like a brick and mortar school. Number one, when you're 14 and you have a passion that takes up all your time and you see a vision for yourself, kind of like a crazy person, other kids don't really get that.
They don't get it.
And so I had a really hard time socially at school.
Wow,
even though the kids that I really liked and who liked me, I would make myself so busy that I couldn't see them, and eventually they would kind of give up on trying, you know,
Right.
because I was always like, nope, I've got a gig. Nope, I'm working. Like, I've been a workaholic as long as I knew music was a thing. And I love it, you know, but it is definitely isolating. So I moved around like 100 times growing up, and one of those times was right after 9th grade. That's when I sat down with my parents and said, you know, I'm not thriving at school. I think it's a waste of time because the teachers are distracted, the students don't want to learn, people waste time, they're skipping class. Like, I want to live in gratitude, you know, and to be in a space where I felt I wasn't pushed to be grateful all the time, but I was rather pushed down and sort of like suffocated by other students and the like. It just wasn't good for me. So I felt so much more free to do exactly what I wanted to do when I started online school. It's the best thing I ever did.
Wow.
It was very hard. Like the year after we moved and I started online school, we went to Barcelona, and my day basically looked like this. So I enrolled in a conservatory in Barcelona because I wanted to know more about theory and jazz piano. And I was 10, 12 years younger than every other student.
Wow.
Because it was a university. And it was just by chance that I got in, I guess. But
no, it's not by chance. It's because you're talented. That's why.
But so my day, speaking of discipline, started at 5:30, 6 a.m. I would work on my high school stuff until 11 a.m. Take the metro into the city to classes, have classes until 6 p.m. and then go out with the students and see live music and kind of cut my teeth in the music scene in Barcelona until 11 p.m. Then head home and do it all over again.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
It's a nice day.
Oh,
how'd you have time to study?
Well, I had time to study from 6 to noon every morning. Yeah. So
that's still
but
a lot.
think about it, like how much time we spend getting to the classroom, sitting down in the classroom, like let alone the drive to school.
That's true.
The time between classes, recess, like people starting late and like finishing early. Like there's just so much time wasted.
True.
And I wasn't wasting any of that time. I was like 1 hour for this class, 1 hour for that class, 1 hour for this class, and it was just all boom, 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 boom.
And you're done.
Yeah.
Right.
Knock it out.
I love that.
I like efficiency. If you couldn't tell.
You know, I just, you remind me of a lot of myself because I'm very, will attest to that because I'm just like, let's go, hurry up, gotta get done. Mm-hmm. Because life is short and life is fleeting and time shouldn't be wasted because it is a commodity and God gives us a gift every day and it's like we want to like take advantage of what we have every day. Yeah,
it's funny that you say that because I feel like I'm getting to the age where I wish I didn't think that way when I was like 15. I wish I could have just been a kid sometimes, Like I was so worried about the agenda and like the big picture. I've been planning my life 20 years in advance ever since I can remember.
That's amazing.
Like, and the cool part about it is that manifestation is a very real thing.
It is.
Like thoughts
Absolutely.
become things. That's it. If you believe it and if you dream it and if you put the work into it more than anybody else would, it'll happen.
Without a doubt.
And it's happened every single time for me.
I'm glad you say that because I think a lot of people think that they can wish it and that it's going to like mysteriously fall out of the sky and land in their laps. So like, no, that's not how it works.
And maybe if it does, the test begins then because if it falls into your lap, which sometimes it can.
It can, yeah.
It's up to you to decide whether to have longevity in that or to see it kind of like up. I took this class at Berklee College of Music.
I was going to ask you about that. You got 2 scholarships.
Yeah,
not one, but 2.
Right, for the summer program, and which is not as big of a deal as the summer program, not the full-time thing.
But still, that's huge.
Sometimes people get that mistaken online. I'm like, no, I did not get 2 university scholarships. But anyway, Livingston Taylor, James Taylor's brother, taught one of the seminars, and he said something that I'll always remember. He said, it's upsetting to be ready and not get called, but it's a tragedy to get called and not be ready.
Great point.
So,
yeah, I totally get that.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so with the manifestation thing, when something falls in your lap, you got to be ready for that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
otherwise you blew it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, so to be like, oh, I wish I were doing this and that, are you actually ready for it? You know what I mean?
I'm glad you said that. Hopefully, those watching and listening, that's a really major point because if you're not ready, I got an invitation once when I just started playing. Joe Walsh from the Eagles.
Oh, cool.
He asked me to be on his album, and I had to say no because I felt like, well, I just started playing live, and I just felt so insecure with my playing that I said, I can't play that. Like if you would ask me to clap on it, I would have said sure, but. when you said not ready, because it was just so new to me. But I probably could have did a great job.
Yeah,
but it was my fear, that insecurity.
Yeah, it's a fine balance between like being prepared and like faking it till you make it.
Right.
Like because sometimes if something does come and you're like, oh, like they think I'm a lot more qualified than I am. Sometimes you can kind of bullshit it into actually getting really good at that thing. Scooter Braun, he's a really like well-known manager in the industry, and he manages he discovered Justin Bieber and basically made Justin Bieber, and now is like managing Kanye West and Ariana Grande, just like huge. And I saw him speak at NYU. Where I attended for a year.
Nice.
And he was saying how he started out as a party planner when he was in college, and it went really well, but eventually he kind of fell into the music industry and became a manager before he ever had the qualifications to be.
Wow.
And now he's like one of the most successful, if not the most successful manager in the world.
And he probably said, sink or swim, and he's gonna, swim.
Yeah.
Swim real fast.
So he was like, oh, whoops, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna put so much hard work into it, you know what I mean?
That's amazing.
I think it's just, in life, what I've found to be critical is to have direction, and it doesn't matter how many times you change direction, just that you're not floating. So if you know that you're going somewhere, like if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to go anywhere at all.
That's a good point.
But if you decide where to go, even if it takes you unexpected ways and you end up somewhere else, at least you went somewhere.
Right, instead
of
just like, oh, now what?
Exactly. Yeah, so that's the way I see life and my life, especially.
That's awesome. I mean, you're involved with so many different things. I noticed that you have made such a huge effort in helping those from starving, and you actually created a open mic tour fundraiser. Can you tell us about that?
Sure, that was my mom's idea, actually. So I knew that I wanted to go on tour, and she was like, how can we spend time together, see some of the States, because I had never really seen it, perform in front of crowds that I hadn't developed yet, and give back. And so we went, I think it was like 25 or something, open mics up the East Coast, starting in Atlanta, where my grandparents are from.
Wow.
And basically I was raising money through tips. So there's this organization called Serve International, and what they do is they donate meals that are these little dried vegetables, and it's basically like hyper nutrients. So and they're encased. So if you soak them, they expand, and you can eat them like that. And they feed villages, and so it's $1 a meal. So I raised $15,000 for the.
That's awesome.
Just through that.
I give you such kudos for that, because I mean I think that's so important. The world needs more people like you. It really does, because I feel like if everybody would do something like that, we could end all of this madness that's going on around the world and help so many people. And it's really, I think so many people are just very selfish these days, and they just think about what's in it for me, instead of thinking, how can I help? How can I serve? What can I do to help somebody else?
Yeah. Well, I think all human beings are in search of what will make them best, and there's a confusion in the Western world.
Very true.
And the idea is that by receiving, by taking, you will be most
happier.
Fulfilled.
Right. Which is so wrong.
Yeah, in reality, you find, I think, as you become wiser and older, that giving is what makes you feel more content, because you see joy in other people.
Exactly. And I always say, if you're depressed or you're feeling blue, go help someone else.
Yeah.
Because you'll feel better instantly.
Healed.
Yeah, exactly. So how did you wind up getting the gig with Michael?
Instagram.
I love it. See, social media really does work.
Instagram has done everything for me. I'm so indebted to whoever invented it, because ever since I started putting myself out there, I've gotten some incredible opportunities to open for artists like Michael. He found me on the Explore page. I had posted a video of me playing guitar, and he was like, I love your music, I love your message, come help me inspire people, let's go on tour. And
wow.
So, and then he flew me down to Nashville, and we wrote a song together called Flower and the Gun that speaks to anti-gun violence. And yeah, so it's been amazing. I've learned so much from him. He's very seasoned.
I was gonna say, he seems very grounded.
He's super grounded, and he's very mature and generous, and he's committed to, as an artist, to giving back and to inspiring others to be their best and uniting people,
Yeah, I see he's got a lot of causes going on. And
yeah.
I saw he started a podcast too, which I
check
it out.
It's good.
I haven't had a chance to check it out yet.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I know you have short time here, and I don't want to keep you. Are you ready for the 11-stroke roll rapid fire interview?
I am so ready. Let's do it.
Okay, let's see. Your favorite food?
Mac and cheese.
Ooh. Your favorite vacation spot?
Barcelona.
Your favorite article of clothing?
Socks.
Your favorite person to hang out with?
My dad.
Your favorite album?
Continuum, John Mayer. Actually, I changed that. Where the Light Is. The live record by John Mayer.
Dog or cat lover?
Both.
Name one item that you can't live without.
One item that I can't live without? Oh, jeez. A pillow.
Well, if you could be reincarnated as anyone, famous or not, who would it be and why?
If I were to be reincarnated, it would be someone who doesn't exist yet. And I would love to be someone who's like a combination of the best people in the world.
Oh, I like that.
Like Gandhi and Mother Teresa and Michael Franti and Obama, and Oprah. Like, I want to be all of those people. Maybe I can do it while I'm alive.
There you go.
I mean, it's a big ask of myself, but to have influence on people that way would be amazing.
Love that answer. Your favorite key to play in?
Favorite key? C sharp.
Nice. Favorite time of the year?
Spring or fall. Fall. I like sweater weather.
I do too. I miss that here. I don't get that much. Your biggest pet peeve?
Pet peeve? It's my own doing, but whenever I need something, I can't find it. I hate that feeling. It's like every time I need a pen, I can't find it. And then when I don't need a pen, I sit a pen. You know, like that kind of thing. Ugh.
Cool. So tell me, that was awesome. Thank you for playing.
Was that 11?
That was 11.
Can I change my food answer?
Sure.
Okay, favorite food. I'm not really eating mac and cheese anymore because I'm trying to avoid like meat and dairy. Let me think about it. Favorite food. There are so many foods I love.
I know. That's a tough one.
I'll just say cuisine. Spanish.
Spanish cuisine.
Spanish
I love
food.
it.
Yeah.
So, do you speak other languages besides English and Spanish?
Actually, just fluently those two, and then I dabble in others because I've lived so many places.
Right,
that it's
that's what I'm
mostly
wondering.
like basic conversational. Yeah.
It's cool. So,
It's
like,
just everybody else wants to speak English. You know, when you
That's true.
travel,
We
everybody
go.
wants to travel or practice their English.
That's true.
So I haven't had the chance, but French and just
Parlez-vous français?
but not much. Yeah,
I love it.
very terrible accents in all of them.
One last question for you. Like, what is your process when you write?
My process when I write, normally I have either a concept in mind, like what I want to write about, or I have a cool melody. Usually it starts with a melody, and then I'll just record it into my phone, and then start a session on Logic, and go in and kind of like experiment with the melody, see what chords fit over it, and write a chorus or a verse or whatever comes, you know.
Oh,
It's
that's
different
awesome.
every time as well.
I love it. So thank you. How can our listeners and audience stay in touch with you on your social media?
As I said, Instagram, I'm very accessible. Victoria Canal. I am in constant dialogue with people who follow me and the people I follow. It's a very interactive, connected community, so I'm always open to conversation.
I love it. And I will definitely put all of those links in the show notes, as well as some of your videos I love that song, No Fear?
Not afraid?
Not Afraid, sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're good.
And I thought that was really amazing.
Thank you.
So again, Victoria, I
Absolutely.
really appreciate it. I wish you a lot of luck on the rest of the tour.
Thanks for your time.
And I hope to see you again when you come back to town.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to our friends listening today, if you like this episode, please share the love. And be sure to go to www.littledrummergirl.com. That's LALdrummergirl.com to see Victoria's live performance from this evening's show. And while you're there, be sure to grab a copy of the free 2019 St. Pete Street Art Calendar. It's only free for a short time, so grab a copy before it's too late. And remember, it's never too late to begin the life of your dreams and leave a trail blazing behind you. So rock on and rock out, and I'll catch you on the flip side.